Salut. I'm doing this video because I want to speak about my spiritual awakening, more of my consciousness awakening. So, booklet. I started my spiritual career at 4 years old. I started seeing things. Most of my powers came from astral projection. One of my biggest fascinations since I was a kid was learning about the matrix and learning about the energies and how I could modify them. I come from a background of really spiritual people. I did not have problems expressing my powers from my 4 to 6 years old. My mother was really into that actually, and she gave me a lot of confidence into channeling these worlds and to astral project to these worlds. Let me tell some story about my 4 to 6 years old powers. So first things, at 4 years old, I remember going to school and teletransporting back to my house. And I just told my parents, I remember this really clearly, the angel took me and they brought me here. They never believed me and I have no problem with that. But I just knew that the day hadn't started and I was able to shift dimension in a new dimension where from that state I went to another. Another one is I remember flying, running down the stairs at my grandparents' house and like skipping a few stairs and just wobbling with my feet up in the air. Other powers that I recall from that age was breathing underwater. I was able to like take the water in, and while breathing, I was able to like divide the molecules of the water and breathe in like only the oxygen. So I remember changing the molecules of my body and making them like the same weight as the air around, and that's how I was able to fly. It wasn't like I pushed myself to it. It was like changing the molecules of my body. So changing the weight of my body to match the air, and that's how I was able to levitate. And changing the molecules of the water while breathing in the water, and that's how I was able to breathe underwater. And I remember those events really, really clearly in my mind. Some little facts about me at that time and age, at 4 to 6 years old, I started piano lessons. My mom's choice. I wanted to sing. I always wanted to sing. I just remember doing these shows constantly, like putting up new choreographies and singing, and that is a strong memory that I have in my heart. And I would like bring all my friends into it, like bring them home and do singing. I started writing songs, not like writing songs, but I started to express myself through music. I hated electronic music as a kid because I didn't understand it really well. But my father had the brilliant idea to make a song with me because he saw how much I wanted to sing. So that's how my first song was created. A little fun fact, my song came out at the radio when I was 6 years old. So in first grade, I remember my father had a friend over at a radio station, and I just remember doing physical aid. So we were like running around the gymnasium a few times before starting the lesson. And I just remember the concierge going over to the radio because he spoke with my father and putting my song on the radio. And all my friends were like, super hyped, and I felt really popular at that moment. I felt a lot of bullying growing up actually, and I remember I really felt powerful in that moment. My father is actually a producer. He does like electronic music.
N'aie pas peur du noir. N'aie étoile va te guider.
I don't want to stick too much to this period of age, but I started to see ghosts. I started to see a woman in my house. I was already astral projecting to some really dark places and crazy stuff with some entities, and I can remember some of the stuff. And I feel the woman in the house where I was living was protecting me. I manifested my sister in an unconscious way. I don't want to even say unconscious. I want to say it in a conscious way. I wanted somebody to live with me what I was living because of the intensity of what I was going through, and I was really scared of going through with it alone. My parents wanted to divorce when I was 5 years old, and I felt really alone because they started fighting really hard. Like my mother yells, and that stayed with me. Next part. My stories include a lot of traveling. I did the first 2 years in a school. I did my 3rd grade in another school in Canada, Montreal. And in 4th grade, I was in Switzerland, like a 5,000 people village in Switzerland. And in the school, there was only 2 classes. So it was a big shock coming from Montreal in Canada. So at age 9, I felt really alone at that time. Not ever being fixed in one place. I had a lot of feeling excluded. I started YouTube. YouTube was a way for me to connect. It was beauty videos.
Qui veut s'aiguiser en super chat.
Super chatine. Super chatine.
Oui,
Des oreilles rouges. Ah! Tu me l'as mis dedans.
I would be doing some baking.
Bienvenue à Cuisine d'Enfer. Petit problème. Je vais prendre une dose de farine. Et à la fin, on va mettre 2 cuillères de chocolat en poudre.
I have gone through abuse in my family. I would not say at a high level, but it impacted me as a person. My parents were starting to divorce. It was really stressful. We were in a new country. My dad just lost his job in this new country, the richest country in the world. He was really stressed about it. My mother started to become really bad with her mental illness, and I felt more alone than I ever felt in my whole life that year. It's also the first year when I tried self-harming. Like that, it's the first time I tried to kill myself. I've suffered from self-harms ever since that time in my life. I suffered from a lot of social isolation, a lot of bullying also because my accent was French-Canadian and I was with the Swiss. I opened the door of suicide when I was 9 years old to be able to feel my emotions, to be able to abandon. Moving on to 11 years old and 12 years old, I was actually reinventing myself every year, changing a lot of school. Every time that I would be coming back to school, I would watch a lot of movies during the summer times and looking at all the people and the archetypes in those movies and trying to recreate myself every time. I went back to Canada for a year. My family life was getting worse. My mom was becoming severely mentally ill. My father didn't know what to do and wasn't that present in our life because he was the only one working in our family. Every day yelling was horrible. I remember going to school and not having lunches, just like a vegetable, literally a crude vegetable in my backpack while everybody else had like sandwiches. She would not be able to give me a proper meal at school. My self-harm was growing in different ways. That's when I started to understand my spiritual abilities and try to put them into a more realistic kind of way. I started using my abilities. So like I did when I was 5 years old, that I manifested my little sister, putting my energy into the ether, into source. I did the same thing, but for the separation of my parents, to get a new family life, a more sane family life for me and my baby sister. And that's exactly what happened. So in 6th grade, I went to Italy and I lived with my mom. The thing was, my father thought that me and my sister staying with the mom was the best thing without acknowledging that my mom has severe mental illnesses. We lived in a village of 50 people this time, without heating in the house, only a fire pit, and hot water only on the first floor. And every floor was like deconnected, so you had to go outside. And we live on the third floor, so I had to go in the middle of winter, take a shower, and come back up. And most of the time, the boiler wouldn't work. The nearest school from that village, because it's like a 50-person village in the Alps in Italy, was a 30-minute drive, and I would come, I kid you not, every single day late at school. The fact that my mom was like spending every single day in her garden doing gardening. I did later in 6th grade with my mother a fair, because she used to like sell things that she made by herself, and I decided to do some divinations. So I put my little desk and I told some divination to some people that were so surprised that the next day I woke up with like a 30-person queue, and I wasn't really informed into like balancing the energies at that time, so they were giving me a little something back, but I wouldn't be like asking for a definite price for that kind of job. So there was a lot of energy disparities, and I had some troubles like processing all the shit that I was doing. But I can remember I did some stuff that stayed with me, like some old ladies saying, "You're an old soul, how are you doing this?" and people crying. And like once I remember I started face reading at that time also, but intuitively I looked at somebody's face and was like, "Your name is Margherita." I used to think about like, where did she put her keys, and just sit down. So feeling the burning sensation, turning around and like searching a certain place, feeling the heat, and finding the keys. So I was actually working a lot on my mental capacities. So mom kidnapped my sister. My sister came back because she was going to go to prison if like she didn't give back my sister. At 12, after that whole shit happened, I started living with my dad. My dad finally got the message that we needed another life. He found himself a girlfriend. She didn't want kids. She didn't want to have kids around. But that's not a problem, because she was minding her own business. The only thing was, like, in the house, there was, like, a weird kind of energy, like competition almost. And not a safe emotional place for children, but way better than my mentally ill mother. I started doing videos on YouTube again.
5 cose che fanno le ragazze quando sono da sole, quando da sole, sì, ciao. Ho anche il PC qui per capire cosa sto facendo. Ciao ragazzi, sono Maddie e come potete vedere dal cerchietto e dal candelabro siamo nello spirito di Halloween.
So that was a time where Eva Gotowski, Alicia Marie were getting popular, and I loved those kind of Tumblr girls videos. Started to grow my Instagram. Like, I've reinvented myself at least 5 times by that point. So I was a hot girl, I'll say. When I started my 2nd year in middle school in another school in Torino, this time with my father, I was the fucking hot girl, and I was proud of it. I remember my classmate being like, "Oh, I followed your DIY video." I wrote another original song that I published at 14 years old. I always liked to do like some artistic project with my father, and that was a really good bond that we had.
You would only say that I'm too little to be.
So growing into 14, I decided to tell a professional that I had suicidal thoughts and they just brought me in a psych ward. The thing that changed me, that part, was that I remember my friends coming out of my room. This other friend of mine that was coming every single day, he told me, I saw your friends coming in and coming out, and your dear friend, another friend that came, she was all the way crying because you weren't yourself anymore. I've been under like 12 different treatments and nothing worked. Something was telling me that was the wrong path, and I decided to stop. And I switched from the public system to a private system. Ooh, last thing from that period of time, I withdraw from like all my medication. I wasn't doing like 12 therapies in the same time. I was doing like 3 therapies in the same time, different, like switching between psychotic medication, like mental medication. Yeah, from that period of time, now I suffer from seizures, literally, because I used to take epileptic medicine, and that's just one of the side effects. If you don't suffer from epilepsy, you could develop some of that. Fun fact, I lied to a cafe and I started working at 14 years old. I was the first of my friend group working, and I was working because I was doing weed, allegedly. And weed actually helped me a lot more than whatever was going through in the public system. I had to stop my ritual, and a whole day passed. There's so much going on in this house. Yeah, I'm pissed. So let me just. And the one before me. I'm doing this video as an outing, like a humiliation thing. I need to be myself on here. I need to not be ashamed of my story. It's been really hard for me being that honest. It's been like the most intense shadow work I've ever done. Oh, and if you guys were wondering, what am I using to clean with the incense? It's actually my own herbal cigarettes. I have different kinds. The aphrodisiac, that is the one that I'm using right now for the video. It's with roses and damiana. Grand Rising and Relaxed Mind. There are 2 blends, one for the night, one for the day. And I used one as a stimulant, so Grand Rising, and one as a calmant, so to be calm, like to calm yourself. That's Relaxed Mind, my first blend that I ever created, because I used to have a lot of maniac episodes, and Relaxed Mind actually helped me a lot in my detoxes. Also, for people that are used to like coffee, or for me personally, like the joints, I was really using marijuana in the morning to get my day started, and to smoke at night because you want to fall into sleep easily. I feel the potency of the herbs because of my sensitivity. Some of the herbs are aphrodisiac and they really give you a sense of perception that is different. I have heard also people that are not quite sensitive and don't feel the effects of them. You can also drink them if you want to use them as teas. I don't know if you guys are familiar. There's a place where the paper was closed. So I see the line here, you can see it. You can literally just pull the line up if you want to do it more properly. Lick it a little bit and just tear the paper down and put the content inside of hot water, and it's gonna make a tea with it. In my personal route, making and consuming these was really helpful. I wouldn't say it's a thing that got me to stop smoking. That was something from the inside, and also like really stop putting myself near things that would create a dependency. But these herbs don't have nicotine, they don't have tobacco, they don't have weed in it, they don't have anything that creates dependency. They're like incense, like they're purely organic herbs. Or like even if you're out with people and they're smoking and that's triggering you, I used to use this when people were triggering me back in Milan, because in Italy everybody smokes. So yeah, little promotion for my cigs. They're not available at the moment, but I wanted to talk about it because I use them for purification, and they've been really helpful to me. As you see, I've already used some of them, Personally, I don't feel like using white sage, palo santo, or tobacco in any way because it's not part of my culture. Getting back to the video, I started doing psychedelic, not religiously. I started to help and cope myself, I think, a few times a week, maybe 1 or 2, and that was the beginning. So at 15, I was in this relationship with this person that was using me. She was older than me, I was paying for everything, so I'm kind of bitter for that. That relationship ended really badly because I was giving out way more than what I was receiving, and that's about it. So I was 16 when COVID hit, going on 17. Thanks to the trauma of that relationship, I just got on TikTok and I started making TikTok. That went really well for me. I had a TikTok go viral about like relationship issues, and that's when I started thinking, well, I'm working at a cafe, I'm allegedly selling psychedelics, and I was doing so much hard work for like so little money. Like literally in Italy we don't have a minimum wage, and I was paid $5 an hour. I was in business wise. From TikTok, I decided I want to make something out of this. In the last cafe where I worked, I used to draw on napkins jewelry ideas. So I started a jewelry shop. That name was Zoe's Binky. My dad, as always, helped me so much in the bringing up of my shop. He created the website for me, and I started making TikToks. Most of my videos regarding my shop went viral, and I also started doing some witchcraft TikTok. It was really soft witchcraft. So my altar tour, I also did like a mini series. I only did like 3 videos, but it was color magic. So the color blue, the color green. I fell into another relationship after that. I'm gonna say another thing. From my 14 years old to my 18 years old, I was only with women. This girl smoked crack. I didn't know what crack was. I had no idea what this girl was doing. And she wasn't doing it in front of me. The trauma was so bad that I forgot most of it, but if you can see, I have a scar on my head right here. I have another one in my dreads that I'm not sure where it is, but that's from a metal lamp. But karma got her. Karma got her so bad. So COVID hit, I started selling my jewelry online. I started heavily medicating myself with marijuana every single day, allegedly. So I was out of school at that point. They wanted me to be medicated to go to school. I'm so bitter about the public system. I still need to heal from that shit. I was waking up in the morning, smoking a joint, and getting on my spiritual shit, learning about my powers, learning about channeling. I had a little book, like a textbook, where I used to write everything I learned, and I wasn't really like doing a program, example face reading or channeling, because I didn't know the words at the time. I was just looking around, learning from what I could find. I was also doing a lot of TikToks.
Scrive di suicidio già alla sua età, guardando la medaglia solo da una delle due. Della mia vita restano solo desideri, parole al vento e l'ombra di sti grattacieli, brutti pensieri buttati sui marciapiedi.
Last part of this year, I started working back in a cafe.
Getting closer and closer every day, and I'm almost there. I'm almost there. People down here think I'm crazy, but I don't care.
So this is a great part of my life. I did a lot of shooting. So I did like a massive viral TikTok video. My Etsy shop popped. So I used to invite my friends, like contact some micro influencer from my town. I did like a collaboration shooting once also with like 5 people, 5 models. The business was good, could have been way better if I was at it. I was on drugs, I was maniac and depressive, in a hard-ass relationship, working. My girlfriend was a rapper and I was a singer. We wouldn't like collaborate together, but she always pushed me to make music. So I was finding producers and like copying her. And I actually made a song at 18. Yeah, it was called Lost. Lost 11.
Lost. 'Cause I'm lost. I'm lost. Lost in a desert city. I don't wanna be like this.
The song is great because they were already spiritual songs. I was in my whole spiritual awakening. I made about, I would say, 5 to 6 songs with like 4 producers. I was jumping.
Cause if you don't fall, I will stay above your grounds and take a sip and be your best friend. Oh, baby, I don't want it to believe you're saying up from other galaxies. It's up to one nothing compared to the bet I'm taking. How many times did I tell you there's things you shouldn't do? Just now I believe that the only thing is matter in control. Everyone is like an open door to me, and every time I fall back now to believe, but I come straight back home to you. When the wind keep knocking, when the wind keep drumming on, when the wind keep knocking, well I can stop. Anybody here now? Too many ouch, too many games. Is anybody real now? Or y'all try to pump up your game? Cause if you know me, Mr. Notice Man, then you would see we would just make believe. And if you leave me, say just want me back. I'm not anybody else. And please forgive me if I know who I am. This the start of something else. Want me right now? Oh no.
It was a summer when I was 18 and I just decided I had to get away from that girl. I needed to run away. Real bad. My boy crush at the time was like, I'm going to Barcelona. I actually decided to go to Barcelona like 1 week before he was going, got a ticket, and we just flew the country. I started working in Barcelona. It's like learning Spanish. It was my 4th language. Can I get some more? First country as an adult and like without my family. I was in another band. I was trying to do a band. I was trying to do so many stuff. There was so much on my plate and I was still not sober. Working in a weed shop, being like high all the every single day. Like they're smoking in the club and I'm working and I'm smoking while they're smoking. Completely intoxicated. Really great times. But yeah, I was not clear. Put faith in everybody around me. My producer at that point was the manager of the weed club. We had some great time. Love that guy. Wanted to collaborate with another producer that was kind of an asshole. He had a diss with Major Lazer. We had to listen to him. So I did not listening to my own perception. So to put my song, my summer song in the beginning of summer, but putting it out in September when all the buzz, all my fans were already like changed.
I'll give my
really big part. I was an OnlyFans model. So going to Barcelona, living with my partner, friend at the time, I was so scared for money. He wasn't making any money. I was literally like providing a lot for us. The last thing was in Barcelona, I had this friend. She was doing OnlyFans. She was also my first client. Without being my client, she was my friend. I was helping her out. She was going through a lot of shit. And she was the best person I could have done this with. We didn't even need to go into deep meditation or do some rituals and stuff. I was channeling and speaking with her about sex work and why she was working with her body and why she was anorexic. And I was feeling those kind of thing were clicking together. And at a certain point, I just turned to her and I was like, you got some sexual trauma in your past, but not your past. I see somebody in your family. And she was like, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think so. So my friend got to Italy back to her family and actually asked her mother. And I kid you not, that woman outed such a sad story. Our friendship in Barcelona really changed me. I really understood I could help people. I was doing hypnosis at 14, 15 with my friends, doing like yellow door, red door, and sending them in a trance and helping them heal or like do a mystical experience. But my path was spiritual consulting, and I saw that I had a really big spiritual comprehension, channeling, divinations, and healing, and I wanted to use that with people. Yeah, I couldn't do much more about it. I actually one time I got to this girl's house and took all her things with her, with me and her dog, and went to my house because her boyfriend was like putting Xanax in her mouth. Awful abusive shit. But yeah, we actually broke off a little bit the relationship because she wasn't giving back the energy. She wasn't even able to be a friend for what I was comprehending, and I absolutely get that. She was in such a horrible situation. She had to concentrate on herself. I had a lot of spiritual psychosis and had really cool moments. I manifested a house that actually got to me at 20. Like I wanted a house, and I had a house 2 years after. And it was really cute the way it went, the ritual. I was with my partner and we're like praying on candles and little lecture, something really sweet. But a butterfly came in the window in the Raval at the fourth story. It was just crazy. This butterfly started running around the flame and passed through the flame like boom. And after like went over my head and started doing infinity symbols over our heads while we were like praying, and we're like, what the fuck is happening? Well, I'm really sad. I just spoke for an hour and 7 minutes. The whole audio was fucked up. I'm gonna redo it briefly. It's midnight, it's switching hours. So at 19, what happened is that we left the home in Barcelona. I went to Victoria, BC to see my grandparents, and then to Montreal. I stayed a month in Montreal and was doing microdosing for the first time with my flatmates. Was crying all the time. I was born, my first archetype was born at 13 years old. Her name was Zoe. And that's actually the name I gave myself when I was doing OnlyFans and Suicide Girl. And I was like at the end of Zoe at that point. I was really let that archetype die because she was reckless. She was just all over the place, learning about things, not really understanding my personal right or wrong, just experiencing stuff. And that's when I started understanding that wasn't me, that wasn't my persona, that's not who I want to be. Italy, weed and hashish is illegal, but it was legal in Canada, and I was of legal age for the first time where weed was legal, so I was vaping that vape pen every single day so fucking hard and microdosing. But I really felt it was like a whole like traumatic release, also because I was going in front of my old house where I used to have a family. that was more or less happy, and I just bawled my eyes out. Hello, beautiful creatures. I'm 19. It's the 4th of September 2022, and right now I decided to stay a little bit in Montreal because I had some work to do emotionally, let's say. Because I was kind of dragged out of here when I was 10. I used to live in Montreal in this little neighborhood, and like every time I watch and I'm looking out the window, I can see the same things I used to see every day when I was like 10, and that is really, really healing for my brain. Is what I used to see every time I would come back from the park. And I just remember, guys, I'm not kidding, I just remember when I was little, like thinking, or not even thinking, but being like, I know this symbol really well, and I feel like connected to this symbol, but I don't really know why. And when I came here in this house, in this room, the first thing I saw was that symbol, and I was like, oh fuck, that's why I always was kind of attracted to this, because 10 years later I would wake up every single day looking at that symbol, and that for me also is a sign that I'm doing like the spiritual healing work. Something really strange happened when I was there. I was in a thrift shop and I bought a Vestaglia, a ropa, como se dice? It was like a silk one, and the energy was really off with it. So one time after microdosing with my friends, having a great time, I just go back in my room and I feel the energy is off. And I had this necklace from my Zoe's Binky store. I used this pendant with the chakras on it as like a purifier, and just started swabbling around like to change the energy in the room, because I was really, really high, I guess, but also really perceptive in that moment. I had a lot of perception and wasn't feeling ashamed about it. I always felt ashamed about my perception until this point that I'm birthed in this new authenticity, Erazel. So I was kind of feeling weird in the room, and just say, oh, I'm gonna be silly and do the things that make me feel good. So swabbling this thing around, turning it around my head, and after I just see the ropa, the Vestaglia, and I just felt like mashing it with my little necklace, and something came out of it, and I felt it in the room with me. So I started like chanting, like the enchantress that I am, like banishing the spirit from my room. And I remember the window was open, this was open, and I saw a demon. Literally I saw a demon, like red, no, not red, black eyes, his hand like that over the window seal, and just laughing. Like, I didn't really want to go into demonology, like details of the demonology at that time, but if I want to do a video about my best ghost spooky stories, I would love to. Still had a lot of maniac psychotic episodes. I feel that I started getting worse because like my time with the medicine was done. I just couldn't abandon it because I had it like for so much time in my life. I smoked every single day, like 10 joints a day since I was 16 years old, and it was really hard for me just letting it go. I'm not gonna react. And I would always react at the end, because that's what happened when you don't acknowledge feeling. But yeah, I thought that was the only way that I would have not been crazy. Then like Canada, then like Switzerland, then like Italy. And a great opportunity came up because my sister, it was her 16th birthday, and she always wanted to go to Thailand. The accommodations were really cheap, so I was able to afford them with my B&B. And I had a friend working as a manager and a little team for the cleaning. I had set up everything perfectly before going out. But yeah, I was still doing OnlyFans at that time. I had my agency. I worked with 2 girls. I dropped a co-founder that
didn't resonate with my work ethic. So after our Thailand trip, that was rough because we were still smoking. I'm going to Bali, just doing this sober. Weed is illegal in Indonesia. Let's just try it. And we had the best 2 months of our lives. Tried a lot of vegan food. I got connected to a lot of weird spirits, like literally like beasts. I miss it so much. And in Bali, I decided to cut off my OnlyFans. Like, I went to the beach, a beach that reminded me the beach in Barcelona where I started to do OnlyFans, and I was just like, delete all the pictures on my Instagram that I did for like to be perceived and to attract energies I didn't want. I just delete. Kept the like erotic artistic pictures because that is part of like my archetype. That time I was still working with my regular client, and one of my old clients actually came back to me for help. This is one of the big mistakes that I did in my work ethic. So I used to work with this girl in the OnlyFans agency I used to be in. So I'm not sure if I spoke about this because the video cut off. I was in this agency when I was 20 with one of the biggest girl on OnlyFans in Italy. She was running her agency really badly actually. I ended up cutting off completely and starting my own. Just before going away, I was working with this girl and we did some spiritual counseling. Nothing really deep. At that time, I wasn't doing rituals for anybody. I wasn't like personally entering in somebody's energy field and changing things for them. It was more like, I want to be a divination person. I want to be a channeling person. I'm just going to tell you what's going on. But yeah, she came back to me when I was in Canggu, I remember. And she sucked me dry for 3 days. That really helped me in my people-pleasing way because she was a friend at that point, and I was like, I need to be helping her. And she was actually a milestone for me because cutting her out helped me cut out OnlyFans because she was also an OnlyFans model. She had a huge fight with me. I just helped her through like seeing a part of her that was missing authenticity. After that, she had like called me for 3 days for free spiritual counseling because she was in a really bad situation. I was feeling bad about her, and I was like, well, I want to be her friend. She feels like my friend. I want to be there for her. Me and my boyfriend, we can work on your profile. We also have 2 other girls I can work with you psychologically. It's something that I do for the girls on here, and I do it in a really spiritual way, so it aligns with you. And she was like, yeah, you're right, we should do this. But also like speaking for hours about like how she was feeling, and we weren't even making money at that point, and I wasn't even like getting paid for my spiritual work because I was like onboarding her on my OnlyFans agency. I just decided to close my OnlyFans and to tell her, girl, I'm not able to do this. It doesn't work for me. Like we tried, me and my boyfriend, and we're in Bali, like we're living our best life, and we felt what didn't align. We were sober at that point, so we really felt what did and did not align. Put her in contact with somebody that could have helped her with her OnlyFans and said, I cannot be there for you anymore in this way. If we're gonna do like spiritual work, I can be there as a friend. But I was also telling her, I feel kind of drained. I need some kind of exchange. If you could help me too, like see where I'm not authentic and I could do the same for you, that could be a cool exchange. And I started this exchange while saying, because she wrote like a stupid thing on Instagram that she was like vegetarian and she was eating fish. I was like, babe, not to be rude, but if we're helping each other to be more authentic, I feel that you saying you're vegetarian and eating fish is just not authentic. And there's no problem with being pescatarian, but lying is something else. You can also say vegetarian, 90% vegetarian. I'm gonna be like, okay, that's fair. You eat a little bit of fish. But like, yeah, I was really into integrating my own authenticity and reflecting that out to people. The girl just cussed me out, literally cussed me out. Literally, I was helping her like shielding her energy, like shielding it, helping her out, let it go. 2 days after, she wrote me on WhatsApp, sending me a picture of her face and say, "Hi Maddie, the left side of my face is paralyzed, blah 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 blah, I'm doing really bad," like still wanting me to protect her, to help her. And I'm like, girl, like, you're literally using me. You didn't even acknowledge the fact that you've been really disrespectful to me. You've hurt my feelings. You're not getting back any type of energy. You're only taking. And you're literally a two-faced bitch, and half your face got paralyzed. And I didn't even make a spell, but I just released your energy. And because you've hurt me, my, how do you say, mes aïeux, my demons, my spirits, they just came at you and they blocked half your face to show me that you're not a person that I need in my life. She wrote to me a year after, like, "Oh, I'm sorry for what happened." No, I'm sorry for what happened between us. Girl, nothing happened between us. You did this yourself, and I don't want people like you in my life. It's done. That's when I was like, I don't want to help anybody do this kind of work anymore. I don't want to be in this kind of work, and I want a media team. So this all shaped because I was doing social media marketing for somebody, and I went into like social media marketing in the erotic side because, you know, more money, I thought, more trauma. Literally more trauma. And now I'm actually part of a co-founder of a media team. Ubud, that was my favorite place in Bali. Have such a lot of great experience with voices in the forest, spirits in the forest, spirits of Beelzebub literally speaking to me, demon. You can see my sigil. I've always been an alchemist, so I've worked a lot in contact with demonology and demons, and I have no problems with them. I completely understand energy, like low and high frequency, and I don't see bad and good. I just see diversity, and diversity is beautiful. From Ubud to Uluwatu, I had this massive like change, and I felt my archetype Zoe was dying, and I was birthing this new archetype, and I was like, I had this calling. A name fell to me. It was Azazel. It's the name of a demon, actually. We're always in demonology. And after some other names came, like Israel, Irise, Yarase, Rizirel, Herazel came up. And that just like, but I was so scared that I wasn't even able to recognize it, to reinvent myself. I took 9 months, like a fucking baby, to birth it. And Azazel was conceived by myself, through myself that day, and it happened in Bali when I was sober. So after like 8 years of smoking every single day, 10 joints a day, literally 10 joints of tobacco and hashish, and I used to have psychotic episodes like every 2 or 3 days in my life, and I just understood that the medicine was done for me. Like, I didn't have anything more to understand from it. Just needed to open more doors with myself. And yeah, from Bali we went to India a few days because we were trying to do like a South Asia tour, but yeah, my partner wasn't able to provide for himself, so I was providing for us. And after India I was like, I'm done, I'm not able to do this. Like, I have an Airbnb and I just decided to close OnlyFans. I'm not gonna reopen OnlyFans to be providing for us. But like in India we went to his aunt's house, so I was providing, but he was also providing in a certain way. I had a great time in India, but yeah, I was feeling kind of sad because I knew our South Asian tourist was coming to an end, because yeah, I could not provide even enough for myself at that point with just one B&B. And so we went back to Italy, smoked again. It changed me as a person, and as you can see, I'm alone in Victoria because I put myself first now, so it actually helped me. And I still love this person. It's still my partner. we've been through all of it together. So yeah, I went to Egypt. Egypt was magical. Love his Egyptian family. Love the time we spent there. I actually went inside the Great Pyramid of Giza because I really asked for it. And yeah, it was a great thing. We've changed a lot this year. So we came back to Italy and after Egypt, and we actually we came back to Switzerland a bit with his family. But like even after that, after 3 days, my father was like, "I'm getting an Airbnb," and I was like, "Yay!" Well, one part of me was like, my parents are once again copying me. Why? But I already knew why, because I was in contact with myself and they're like, "Oh my god, I want to be that way," but they like cuss me out, and after they do the same thing. My mom with like erotic pictures, my dad with my business ideas. So the business name is Homme Logement, and it's French because we're French Canadian in that part of my family. And so I built Homme Plein Turin, and we stayed in Homme Caveau. I found the name, redecorated the whole place. My baby sister helped me a lot. She's really intuitive. And it's in front of this church where there was the Inquisition, where they killed the witches. And I kid you not, I know why I was in that house renovating it. I did so many rituals, and that's when Erazel came through. I started like posting on my Instagram, my Zoe Instagram, my tarot readings, my ritual, like taking picture of it, like being so bold with it, and it was really a great time for me. But I started losing a bunch of followers, and it's like these two realities were collapsing one against each other, but I didn't have the balls with all the followers that I had to just start fresh, start new. It's something that I always told myself, I will never make the mistake to start another Instagram account. Like, I have so many followers, why would I like throw that? I'm just gonna recreate and change my persona. But niche just doesn't work like that. And Zoe was created with Zoe's Binky, and it was my modeling, it was my fashion interest, my beauty cosmetics. This is the last part of the story. Last 6 months, not even, like last 4 months, I smoked again with my boyfriend. We went into some other detox. I think we did 2 of them, 3, but like failed after a couple. Now the second one was actually really great because I did, I think 3 weeks. That was a lot for me. But yeah, I came back to smoke because like literally it was easier being high and not processing things thoroughly than just smoking and like being guided by emotions. I had a lot of psychotic episodes again, and yeah, that was a clear sign that weed was not cutting for me, because looking back at Bali, I was feeling so refreshed and myself, and I was looking at my life and I was like, I hate being an addict. I hate needing to smoke so much every single day to handle myself. Me and my partner created the herbal cigarettes, the incense, teas, cigs, and he helped me create the logo. He started to be more present in our projects, in my projects, because this is my project, but also in our projects. He was starting to get involved. We actually sold some of them at a techno event, and I was selling them to friends and passing them around, and we were smoking. I had my psychotic episode, but we were actually working on creating something physical to sell, to make our money online. But still, it wasn't our thing. Like, I'm a musician, he's a musician. We want to make music, that's our sole passion. And that helped us because we were really big on weed and we're addicts. So like having those cigs for me was a way to try to swap. So leading up to this, the 18th of December, I came to Canada and I stayed here because I wanted to work on myself. I wanted to put music first because I'm 22 now, and I felt that if I'm not doing this right now, I don't know when I'm gonna be doing it. And I birthed Erazel. Let go all my followers, everything. I started brand new. I'm starting this channel brand new. I had a couple of followers on YouTube on the other channel, I also had some songs on the other channel, and I'm gonna start posting all of my spiritual stuff and my songs here. But yeah, I wanted to finish this video with the change that I made in my life. So this year I'm completely sober. I had a seizure the 8th of January because I was still smoking and saying like, oh, I'm gonna do this slowly. Well, let me smoke till the 11th of January because that's my birthday. Let me smoke till my birthday. I had a fucking seizure the 8th so hard because I used to take epileptic medication. I've touched weed once again the 8th of February, like exactly a month after. And that moment was actually planned in a certain way spiritually for me. I had a friend's birthday party because I don't drink, I don't even eat meat, I don't do nothing. It's like, let me have 2 puff. It's not gonna be that bad. I had convulsions once again. So it's really done for me, but that moment was important because the channeling passed through like a deja vu, super hard, and just understood that I had to be there in that moment, and I had to be proud of myself, and something that I don't really do a lot, and that's why I'm finishing this booklet and this video with gratitude. So I'm pretty proud of myself to be here by my own and still be able to have a loving relationship with my partner, and to be growing for myself, and to be chasing my dreams, because this is the time in my life. The most important part of this video is, yes, my initiation as a spiritual person, but also and mostly the transformation of what all happened, because I'm foremost an alchemist. I've transformed my trauma, and that's what I'm trying to teach you in this video by telling you my story. My spiritual help, my spiritual awakening, and my spiritual counseling all starts from me being in a place where I was in a hospital and I was ridiculed, I was mocked, I was trying to be nullified with medication, where my perception was controlled by other people, and where I thought I wasn't right for myself, and what was happening to me wasn't supposed to be me. Let that shit go, literally, because this is what brought me to create a system to help other people like me and to continue growing. So I'm thankful, and I transformed the trauma of that into Eras and the Enchantress, literally. So thank you. Fuck the public system, thank you, public system. Honestly, to be so abusive, to push myself to be my own doctor. Thank you. Grazie, grazie mille. Thank you for the same experience. For the band that didn't work out, that literally put me in the psych ward. For the trauma I got on the stage while performing. For all the producers I used to get around. To the trauma in my current relationship with music, discovering myself, and all the past relationship traumas in music with my rapper ex-crack addict girlfriend, because that has brought me to make music spiritually and to decide to be an independent artist and to create my own reality with my music through my own crafts. Thank you for that trauma. I really liked alchemizing this one, and for the piano lessons and the flute lessons and the guitars. Yeah, really like the instruments. Thank you for my OnlyFans career, because without that I wouldn't able to be here and be as authentic as I am. Like being naked and being in my erotic really brought me to be shameless about who I am. And I had a lot of, like, I wrote my notes here, but I had a lot of body dysmorphia, and I did a lot of self-harming in the past. And I think the last straw of my self-harming was smoking. So thank you for OnlyFans for helping me rediscover my womb magic, to put respect in myself, and to be able to express myself in my full authenticity, because really witchcraft is easier than showing off my... Yeah, thank you, because this for me is just pleasure right now, and before I was so freaking scared. Thank you for my OnlyFans agency, even if I took years and energy working on social media, other girls' social media, creating packages, pussy, pum pum packages, literally all that stuff, because right now I know what type of agency I want, and I'm creating this agency with my baby sister, working with people to create their dreams. Maybe not everybody's dream, but my dream, because I want to put a lot of my own businesses, like my herbal, I want to put that in the hands of my own agency, and having my sister and her friends that I'm like, they're my kids literally. Next trauma, my fashion and jewelry. So I was bullied for my fashion and jewelry since I was a kid, because I was out there. I didn't care. I used to put a lot of colors together. I used to be put down by my own mother, like, why do you do that thing? I used to cut out my shirts alone, like put stuff into my shirts, like also tie it weirdly, or like scarf. And I was really into fashion. I used to play a lot of fashion games, and I had a really bad trauma with like expressing my body, and like OnlyFans helped me with that. But expressing my fashion, I would say Zoe's Binky helped me with that. My first jewelry store. And thanks to Zoe's Binky, I'm creating my first all organic, natural clothing and jewelry brand. It's birthing. So thank you for the humiliation and the people literally making fun of me and my TikToks, and making fun of me for making jewelry and stuff, because, well, there wasn't a lot of hate. It was more like my friends were looking down on me because they were jealous, I think, about like their not being there for themselves and stuff. So I wouldn't say trauma, but I would say thank you fucking trauma. It was hard. It was hard being the only one like doing a business at 16, and everybody was going to school, and I was always searching for somebody to share this with me. And I had some really great experience, don't get me wrong, but it was really hard for me to push through alone at that age. Thank you. Thank you for all the hardship. I'm not gonna tell a lot about this because I don't want to spoil it, but I want to make my own clothes that make me feel good. Thank you for making me move every single year as a child, every 2 years max, from Switzerland to Italy to Canada to another school in Canada, and another school in Canada, and another school in Italy. Thank you for that. Now I have a short rental business, and I'm so proud of it, and I'm really grateful for it. And I just want more apartments in more countries, and to start like moving between my apartments and put them on rental. And so thank you for all the moving, because I'm not scared of moving now. I actually love being a nomadic person, and it was really hard as a kid. That was really fucking hard, to be always a new kid, but I'm so grateful for it. And like, I've been working this moving to a place from another since I was like 8. So finally, it makes sense that it's one of my creation that came first. I'm really grateful also for my allegedly weed business and working for somebody in Barcelona selling weed, because I've worked with herbs, and that gave me the confidence to open a herb business for myself. And I'm not going to be selling that kind of herbs because it didn't serve me in my purpose, but it helped me push me through my full purpose selling herbs. So I'm not gonna say more about this because it's still birthing, this one too. But yeah, that trauma served me to be working with medicinal plants. Last one but not least important, my food blog. So thank you for all the problems, the health problems, thank you for la douleur, tabarnak. Thank you for the horrors that I had to live with my guts, for the trauma that I had to live with my family pushing me onto animal products, me like literally having so much stomach issues since I was a kid because right now I'm birthing a new way to eat for myself. But yeah, thank you for everything. This was my video. I'm finally done. I will finally be able to finish this ritual. Thank you for being here. Thank me for having the balls to finally do this and out myself. Thanks to the new moon for this new creation. Let it be done. Let it be done. Let it be done. And Erazel was birthed. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Bye bye.